Hello there fellow NPCs, I'm Scythe, and today we're getting back into the house in Fata Morgana. We are currently at door 4, where we get to see the original owner of Fata Morgana, the house, that is, the mansion, which is Michael, and he is apparently cursed, and it causes people to die all around him. Not only people, but creatures of all kinds. So he is cursed, and somehow, despite that, Giselle, the white-haired girl, is in love with him and has declared her love to him as well. Now, it seems we are going through his emotions and his point of view of it all, because that is where we left off in the last video. We'll see how it all turns out, but for now, let's go. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly conversing. As mundane as it might seem, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Michael, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said. And the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Michael seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached a point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through a book together. Have you read every book in the library? No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I'm sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord, foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in the lives and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories and otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart, that you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago, it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry. I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends. The book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. I am curious what kind of stories this area has. The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages and Michael simply watching so as not to brush against her. Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. The chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this. Ooh, we're going to find the origin now. There once was a witch, skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, a long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke, rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds. And they eventually began to take each other's lives. Yeah, that's the poem curse we heard earlier. That I found... Well, yeah, what was that? I never figured that out. Can we see that? Can we still see that? The red text. Yeah, here we go. Ah, what a beautiful story. Much better than a real thing, is it not, my dear? No, isn't this different? That's a different thing, isn't it? Why is the witch just... What the fuck? It's changing. They did not look like this earlier. Images are slithering into my head, replacing memories before they can surface. Stop. What the fuck? Okay, so I have to go through this, apparently. Let's go as far back as we can. Come back another day, but what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize. I'm going to back now. Yeah, that you saw. Please must announce your presence. Oh, well, actually, the other day I couldn't manage to get the words in my head all the way to my mouth. I was terribly disrespectful, completely selfish. They don't say anything. I'm sorry. My mind went blank for a moment. I find it difficult to comprehend you. Yeah, these are things we know. So I'm not imposing. To tell the truth, I had to think of that for some time. You're forgiven. Now come in. Oh, shit. What am I learning here? I think I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into lifelong with me. Why it seems, Michael, about... don't call me Lord, please. That was earlier today. No, was it? Oh, no. Images are slithering in my head, replacing memories to... before they can surface. Stop. Of the I have are the most difficult to... Not only do I have no relation to the... Holy crap, we're breaking down more and more. The blank has always been a blank of blank, which isn't to say I blanked the blank. It's blank can simply be a bit too blank for blank. I'm like some kind of blank that can be blanked to blank. You are blank, but blank would suit blank. Much better blank. What a beautiful story. Much better than the real thing, is it not, my dear? I don't understand what's going on! The day when I first saw Gisela, I was very of her, apprehensive. I didn't want her in any way near me, but as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something very different. As though the lump in my heart had been melted away, I began to yearn for her to be at my side, knowing full well it couldn't possibly last, knowing full well how foolish it was. I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence. Yeah, this is all we saw. Have you... blank in the library? No, I stopped looking at them... blank. Most everything I'm sent is dull, uninformative dreck, the diary of a lord, foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in the lies and fantasies of others? I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Okay, so the number of X's is at least corresponding to letters. That is still correct, at least. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for a great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens. But I know that road is a road to destruction. People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose. People still believe the witch's curse even now, I suppose. And that's... we haven't even read this part yet. And that's why I face accusations of being a witch. This is not an area very welcoming to outsiders. Especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to this region in the first place? Mine's a story I'm sure you've heard of before. I was cast out of my house. I came from a very poor family. We could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be the first to go. I see. What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had a reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for. All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying what might have been changed or added over time, and it's almost certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we are to accept everything as written, you can infer what the witch's reason might have been. And that is, if you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes. That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something? Go on. When I first arrived here, you told me that a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe you made that up simply to scare me away. I appropriated the tale, nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house. Okay, so it's not the original owner. Well, quite the place my family found for me. But it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree. But... no, never mind. That makes sense. I suspect I know what she was going to say then. Maybe the witch knows. Nope, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Okay. If the witch is said to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who so desperately want something? They do not care what price they must pay. And perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend. And perhaps they had encountered Michael, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors. I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition. If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do? It might be nice to talk to her, maybe. That's all, really. I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are there to ask for something, after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that must be. I swear, I cannot comprehend the way your mind works. Sorry. Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea what climb for the heavens might mean. Oh? The mansion has an observation tower. Or I suppose what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here. Oh yes, I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion. Would you like to see it? Of course. Please lead the way. Yes, I am so what do you say? Not anxious. The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with a stained glass window. At the far end of that room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. Yeah, this is the staircase we were walking up to on our way to the fourth door. With Michael in the lead, the two climbed a long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in irregular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Michael pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. This is the top of the tower? Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from there. Her face contorted in confusion. The white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and, slightly below it, a single small window through the witch's stone, which shone a little ray of light. A ray of light, that's the name of this chapter. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive that solitary ray of light. It had a magical fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew towards the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built. Right. Yeah, I think I said that also. This is the tower where the white-haired girl was told the story. She was told a story by her father about a girl being trapped in a tower. This is the tower. Though I don't know what that something might be. My God, what a beautiful image. Different colors on the seam. On either side of the seam. She's the one thing holding something together. What kind of poetry are we writing here? I suspect there once was a large window in the room. If you look close, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone different slightly on either side of the seam. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built. When Michael's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man who never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the host of heaven. Michael undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was fixed firmly upon her. Oh! Oh! My heart! Oh my God! Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps so. Is something the matter? No, I'm fine. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone actually might be listening. If the witch were to speak to you, what would you say to her? I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman people branded a witch. The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It is possible she was a fearsome witch. It is also possible she wasn't. I get the feeling she was just persecuted. Like me. Like me and you. Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being, and that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them death. If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power, regardless of whether it came from God or the devil, then I would be able to grant people's wishes. My wish need not be granted. But it's what I want to. I wish to be able to touch you. I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life. Wow. It doesn't have to be in this life. So, is she... So what is his wish then? Did he... interesting. I pray the day will come that we can get closer, even if it has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you, I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. You can. Reach your hand out for me. Is he always reincarnated as the white-haired girl's lover, regardless of what he might actually look like? Was he the flaxen-haired boy? Was he Bestia? Was he Jacopo? I will imagine it too. I am imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. There was a wall between them, a wall they could not cross. For if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad, but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity. As fitting as the word accursed might have been to the mansion as a whole, at the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long. No, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together. That was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together. But misfortune was creeping ever nearer, and footsteps growing more and more pronounced. What does all this mean? This is sad. Incredibly sad. Is someone at the door? The flow of time was hazy within the mansion's walls. They had little way of telling whether it was night or day, preventing them from knowing exactly how much time had passed. The white-haired girl had made a habit of climbing the observation tower every so often to see whether the sun was up, which allowed her to approximate the time of day. Consequently, when she heard the knock on the door, she was not just aware of how deep the night was outside, that forest and beast alike lay quietly at rest. Oh right, the stores in the cellar are almost exhausted. It must be this month's delivery. Not thinking it was worth bothering Michael over, she made her way out of her chambers and headed for the entrance. There had only been a single knock, leading her to conclude that, as before, the servant had simply left the box outside the door. So without a second thought, she opened the door. And there she saw a strange, vagrant man standing in the moonlight. His clothes were tattered, his bearded face bony and emaciated. She gasped, shrinking back several paces. The heavy door began to swing shut, but the man forced it open, glaring down at her with an unfocused eye and mumbling, Are ye the witch that'll grant people's wishes? It was in that moment that the white-haired girl realized she had been careless. The man had sought out the mansion because he believed the legend of the witch. And he did not seem particularly right in mind either. Perhaps a result of wandering through the forest for several days. Or perhaps it was because he was so beaten down that he thought to ask for a witch's help. In a word, he seemed mad. No, there is no witch here. Sure there is, don't you lie to me. I can hear the witch's voice. She led me to this house. I promise you there isn't. Now please be on your way. Have you any idea how long it took you to find this place? How many days I gone without food or water? And you're telling me to get lost? I don't know what you want from me. I'm happy to give you a little food, so please. Is there really no witch? There's no witch here. It's nothing but a legend. If she does exist, she doesn't live here. I see. Then that means you're just an ordinary person. Just a person, just a girl. So there ain't a thing you can do. No, get away from me! What are you doing? Why waste time waiting for you to get me a little grub when I can just take it all? I'm starving here! I'm so hungry I could eat human. You're about to commit a grievous sin. Are you not ashamed to be acting in defiance of God? God? If I believed in God, would I become begging to a witch? I don't fear him, and I sure as hell don't fear people. Who's gonna show up at the house in the middle of nowhere? Who's gonna call me out? Who's gonna stop me? No one, that's true. No one's gonna stop me, and no one's gonna offer me salvation. Ah, there's a thought. You're a woman, so I thought I'd kill you. What are you doing? What? There's other people there. The white-haired girl lay pinned on the floor beneath the yelling bandit, pleading for help with her ruby eyes. As soon as Michael grasped the situation, he tossed his candlestick aside and leapt for the man. The candlestick gave a sharp clang when it hit the floor. The impact extinguished the flame, bringing the mansion to near perfect darkness. Something glinted in the bandit's hand, and then, without hesitation, he thrust it in Michael. Michael! Oh, stupid must you be to come at me unarmed? In his hand, the man held a knife, its tip dripping with Michael's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arm, the flow growing heavier with each passing moment. Now that he's dying, I need to know, has the story changed any more? Doesn't seem like it. Nothing right away. Maybe it's between saves or something like that. Oh, well, look at here. Wow. The white-haired girl's words are being... Whoa, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is... What? Yo, what is going on? Dude, there's so many changes. What the hell? Dude, how far back do I have to go? Michael undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was fixed firmly upon her. As a bit of an aside, I'd like to share with you a little fact of life, my dear. Humans have a far greater capability to hurt, betray, and forsake others than they do to love, trust, and protect them. And that's precisely what the majority of people do. Yes, I believe you know good and well that no matter how much you may trust someone, they're still going to abandon you in the end. The white-haired girl in Michael is completely erased. I don't remember what they're saying. My dear friend, the two of us have much more in common with each other than anyone else. We both suffered at others' hands, and we both deserve to have our vengeance. Go on, what's the matter? Make this tale into your reality. Surrender yourself in this moment to this beautiful story and remain here in the mansion with Giselle. Watch in this moment, this dream. Who are you? Well, that's a surprise. You actually have a conscious mind. And are you aware of who you are? Haha, you know nothing. Who are you? Someone you once spent a great deal of time with. I must say, I am impressed that you made it back here, my dear. Your soul was ground into dust. What does that mean, your soul was ground into dust? It will all come back to you eventually, and then I'll be here with you again, my dear, whispering into your ear for centuries to come. And this time, I will not fail. I'll mold your soul into the same shape as mine. What a wonderful little show these puppets are putting on for us, wouldn't you say? Giselle. Giselle? Indeed, that is Giselle. The white-haired girl standing there is Giselle. We once read a book together. It was by the fireplace. You did not. Those memories are false. Books belong in the library. Why would they be by the fireplace? What? Is it multiple people talking? I thought it was one person talking to me, the player. Curse them, slaughter them, revile them, inflict eternal suffering on all their souls. Take revenge on the fools who laughed as we agonized. There was a wall between them, as a wall they could not cross. For if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another. So they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity. As fitting as the word curse might have been to the mansion as a whole, at the top of the observation tower, blah blah blah, is someone at the door. What the fuck? You're just sneaking in stuff far back. How much have I missed? In his hand, the man held a knife, its tip dropping with Michael's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arms, the flow growing heavier with each passing moment. You're the only other person there, by the looks of it, huh? Perfect, I'll take you both out. You. What? You don't appear to know whose house you tried to break into. What are you on about? Regret your ignorance to your very last breath. You're messed up in the head, you madman. Hey, steady the hell back. Take one more step and... Ho ho ho! I inherited the witch's curse. Let go! Michael clutched the man's face in one hand. The man raised his knife to strike back, but... What's happening? The strength drained from his fingers, the knife falling to the floor. The man writhed in Michael's grip. My face, I can't breathe. Leave this place immediately, though you won't get far afflicted with my curse. Helpless to fight back, nay helpless to even consider fighting back, the bandit fled from the mansion in terror. In his wake, only the white-haired girl and the bleeding Michael remained. I just saw a man's life drained from him. His face withering away, sucked completely dry. I didn't doubt him, but dear God, that was quite disturbing for you, I'm sure. No, not at all. It's my fault anyway, if I hadn't been so careless. Oh, your arm. We need to get that wrapped up. Please do not touch me. You mustn't touch me. The wound is hardly fatal. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. And we've seen that only their stuff is ignored. But it's still here right now. No, a degree of the blame falls on me for saying nothing. Next time someone comes to the door, let me know. I'm sorry. Please, you don't need to apologize. Well, yes? For once, I'm actually proud of myself. Proud that I could use this terrible ability of mine to do something more than just take a life. To protect someone I care about. So, like I said, please don't apologize. Alright. Thank you. Michael. I'm glad you're here. I care about you too. Thank you. Had the flame of Michael's candle not gone out when he threw it into the floor, he would have seen a heartfelt smile on the white-haired girl's face, and she would have seen a flush of red and an awkward smile on Michael's normally blank face. I need to know. How often does the witch erase stuff? Let me see, erasure. Haven't erased anything so far. He also might have seen a little glimmer on her cheek, where a few drops of his blood had landed. But alas, they had no light. So he did touch her, in a sense, in a cursed sense. That is, He inherited the curse's witch, which means he can grant wishes, I guess. But he's also killing everyone around him. And the witch is alive! In some sense, in the game. That is so cool. It is very similar to, well, not very similar, but because it's much more difficult to figure out how things work. But it's similar to how it was in Doki Doki Literature Club. You had to go into the game files to see how things change. You had to delete certain files in order for the game to progress. Really cool. But this is more difficult to decipher. When can I see what the witch is saying? When can I see when the witch is implanting messages into my memories? That's difficult to see. But yeah, that will be it for today's episode. And now a new curiosity has built up within me with this. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and thank you Joseph for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye everyone.